Live video is starting. Live video is starting. How do we get to that? Bam. Discussion. Announcements. Signs posted in the feed. Boom, boom, boom. I believe we have started the feed. We have. Ha, cool. We're live. All right, what do we want to do today? I'm going to create some custom electrical. Boy, maybe you can hear me better now. I'm going to create some custom electrical symbols in Chief Architect X13. Namely, that I want to set up some of my smart home stuff because we're going to be installing this in several different active projects that I have going on right now. So I'm going to start by just placing a Decora switch. And actually, maybe we're going to do an automatic switch out here just to see how some of this the CAD symbol representation of a symbol works. Because if we click on this, we notice here the center of the symbol is actually off center. We can prove this. In fact, let's just throw a look at this. We've got an inference line, and we can see our snaps change to that triangle. Let me change that actually. Let's go preferences. We're going to change our color in snap properties. Hopefully, anytime you log into my feed, you're learning something, because that would be awesome. Indicator size 18, and let's go 21. That's fine. Excuse me. So now, look at that. Now my snap should be a little bit larger. So let's just, I'm going to snap to the center of this symbol. You can see here that triangle pops up. Center of the symbol, and let's just pull 3D view. Perspective overview, and we can see if we drag, we drew the side of this polyline to the center of the symbol, right? So there is the center of the symbol. So this is on the center of the symbol, but what we notice on this side is it's not center of the actual switch portion of this CAD, right? That's annoying. So that's something we're going to note when we go through and make our new symbol. We're going to fix that along the way. So first up, I placed the symbol on the wall, and the purpose of me placing the symbol on the wall was so that I could take this symbol, modify it to something that I need, which is that I want to create a symbol off of the internet. Let's grab this guy, this over here. I'll just show you on the screen here. We're just going to go to Amazon, yeah, and what do we want? I want zoos. I like zoos as a company. I like their controllers. This is what I want to create right here. And we're going to kind of fake this in Photoshop, but we'll make it look pretty realistic when we're done. I mean, we could even build the flanges out if we wanted to, but I think that's kind of uninteresting. Not as interesting, right? So, I want to start from this because I like the look of this and I want to keep everything uniform, right? So I want to have this same look going on. Now, something to note, I just added this to my toolbar, but this is perspective crop mode. That'll make it so that I can zoom in real tight to this guy because we're going to need to do that in a minute. The other thing I need to do is isolate the symbol from the walls. I want to make these walls disappear. So let's turn off camera so we don't have to look at that. Next thing is I want to change the designation of the symbol by opening up the symbol level here. And then we're going to, in our options block, we're going to just say that this is floor mounted. We don't even need it to be a switch. There we go. Now it's floor mounted. And so if I choose a wall, select marquee, similar all, and delete all my walls, all I should be left with in perspective overview is just a floating symbol. There it is, right there in front of me. Maybe we'll put a backdrop in here. We'll put one of my new backdrops in here. We got Costa Rica. One of these days, I'll do a little feed and we'll show you guys how you can make your own backdrops from cameras using Photoshop and Chief. Because I created this backdrop, isn't this cool? This is actually on a lot in Costa Rica that I visited. Very cool. Anyways, so we've got our little item here. You can see as I get close to it, it just kind of like washes out, disappears. That's annoying. So we're going to, the only way you can get to perspective crop mode that I know of is you actually have to search it and add it to your toolbars. Now that I have that enabled, you can see I can zoom in real tight, but things get really funky sometimes with this. And I might need to switch to an orthographic view. Even with it enabled, you can only get so far in before it just starts having an issue. All right, let's try a different view. Let's try an ortho. Or actually, more like a full camera. We've got some different parameters here with this guy. Let's do this. The reason I want to get in so tight is I want to delete some surfaces from this. Oh, Costa Rica disappeared. Isn't that funny? You can have different background defaults. All right, so now I have that checked and I can get in super tight here. Now I'm going to use the delete surface tool to delete part of this. But before I do, let's talk about some modifications you can do to make this delete surface work a little bit better. Smoothing angle of 60 degrees. Now what does that mean? Let's take a look at what happens when we set it to 0. Oh, we've got a comment. What's a comment? If you're chiming in, feel free to comment. I think I get access to these. Oh, no. Comments for something else. Ignore. Okay. I'm on the feed here. Look, I'm going to type to you guys. If you're watching, don't forget to interact. So if you're watching the feed right now, you'll see a comment just show up. Bam. So I'm working on that. Maybe there's an easier way for me to do that. But you can see here we changed the smoothing angle. What happened? All of a sudden we get all these edge lines, right? We get a bunch of vector lines. What the heck is that? Let's crank it back up to 60. They kind of disappear. What we're going to notice here is if I designate something like 80, okay, and then I press OK, and I use the delete surface tool, what's going to happen when I click on this? It's going to get the face of that rocker, right? That's what it did. Now let's go back a step. Let's open it up again. If I designate this smoothing angle as 0, and I use the delete surface tool, look what it gets. It only gets a couple of these vectors. It's going to be really obvious if we change our rendering mode to a vector rendering mode, right? Then it shows exactly what we're deleting, right? We're highlighting these individual faces. Let's go back and again. Let's change that smoothing angle yet again. And you see we've got some weird offsets here. Let's just fix that. Sure, there we go. Okay, open that symbol up again. This time, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over 90. We're going to go like one, it doesn't matter. It's like 130. What this means is any connected face, right? And they're connected by a joined angle, edges. If I've got one face and I've got a second face, and that second face is connected, they're joined by an edge, so they're adjacent to each other, right? If the polar degree of one face when compared to the next is greater than 90 degrees, now it will be considered part of one face because I've specified that our smoothing angle is over 90 degrees, meaning the return from the face of this rocker back is going to be connected because we've got a connected edge there. You'll see what I mean in just a second here. And you can see we've got some funniness in the cover plate, but that doesn't matter. Now when I use the delete surface tool, watch what happens. I can select that whole assembly and get rid of it. Cool, right? So what am I going to do now? Now I can create a symbol from this. And I want to start with this, so this is good. So we're going to create a symbol from this. What are we going to do? I'm not too worried about what it is to start off with. It can be a fixture. That's no big deal. We're just going to call this, what is this, cover plate. Why not? Oh, actually, before we do, maybe, do I want to have this standoff here? What are we looking like in this guy right here? Do we have that standoff? Not really. It just looks like it's one big block. So maybe we just want one big block. So maybe we'll delete some more here. So let's see if we can delete some more without just getting rid of everything. There we go. So now I just have the cover plate. It's fashioned exactly the way the other cover plate is. Now let's add it to the library as a fixture. No big deal. Cover plate fixture. Pop up. Spelling helps, right? There we go. We have just the cover plate. Awesome. Super easy to do. No big deal, right? So next up, what do we want to do? I'm going to place this cover plate. And you see, because we classified it as a fixture, it was really easy to place. And let's just drop it in something like that. And then I'm going to pull an elevation camera. Okay, we've got our elevation camera. Let's switch to, for some reason my cameras are defaulted as standard rendering view. It's kind of goofy. From here, let's just draw a little solid, right? And we're gonna have to fix, exactly where it's located a little bit later. This is gonna be a simple symbol in the sense that we're just gonna use our fillet edge tools. And what's our overall gonna be? Maybe it's 1/8 of an inch, something like that. Right, so that shadow is going to disappear. And we'll bring it just inside of this guy. What do you think those radius, our fillet radius is at? What do you think? I could center this up and make this the most perfect symbol ever. Maybe I should, huh? Get that inference line there. Center it up this way. We get this inference line somewhere in here. No, it's not going to give it to me. I don't care. All right. Fillet all edges. What do we think? 1/8 of an inch. And then hit our all. Bam, perfect. Absolutely beautiful. That's beautiful. Let's look at it in camera view. Look at that. What is that? We're looking at the wrong thing. So this is the old one, right? It reverted back. So let's get rid of this. Let's turn off notifications there. And we might have to pull a new camera because perspective crop mode makes it really difficult. Hey, we need to turn these off. Turn that off. Okay, thank you. So, new camera. And what do we get? We've got this right here. Turn that perspective crop. Why do I still get notifications? Get out of here. Okay. And there's our deal. It looks a little shallow, doesn't it? Maybe this needs to be like 3/8. What does that give us? A little strong. And minus a 16th. Minus a 16th, yeah, why not? That looks pretty good. Okay, here's the next part. Let's explode this. Solid tools, explodey, presto, and let's go ahead and paint the size of this bad boy. Right? Stop! Oh, sorry, I just yelled in your ear. Getting so many notifications. Okay. Get in here tight. We're going to make sure that all these outside edges are painted white, but we want to change the front face. But we can add it as a symbol pretty quickly here. You know what would have been smart is just, yeah, in fact, let's do it. Let's go back a few levels. Right before we explodey. Oh, one forward. Okay. Now, before we explode, let's paint it. That would be smart. And then we just change the face. So paint this guy, explode, and now let's just color code the front face. There we go, because we're going to change that. From here, I could group select everything and make a symbol, or because we've got nothing else showing, I could just go into tools, convert to symbol. And now this is going to be, what is this going to be? This is going to be a Z-Wave scene controller, right? Z-Wave scene controller. And it's going to be an electrical item. We are going to add it to the library. We are going to show advanced options. No, we don't. We don't need to yet. Because we're going to modify this a couple times, right? We still need to paint it, etc. So we should designate it as a switch, though. Actually, no. We're going to keep it floor mounted. That's fine, because we're going to work with it a couple times. Okay, so let's drop this in. That way we have this guy. Where's our other item? There it is. We can get rid of him now. Doesn't matter. All right. Next up, let's make a little image, huh? Let's just grab this. Oops. I'm just gonna do a screen grab if I can. Oh man, I keep moving my mouse too quickly. Let's try this one more time. There we go. Little screen grab of this guy. Just like that. And then we can open up Photoshop. If you guys are working in Chief, why aren't you using Photoshop? I don't know. I don't know how people do it. Don't use Photoshop. I always have to. Makes life very nice. Okay, Control N gets me a new one. We're gonna keep the size of the clipboard is fine. Create. And then we can just paste this in. That's pretty simple. I don't care about a background layer. We can just delete that. And it would be pretty easy to, let's just crop this, but let's get real tight in here and make sure that our crop is super razor sharp. We're going to just draw a couple guides in here, get them real tight. Just like that. Oops, didn't mean to do that. And right on there, right? Yeah, and then our crop. What happened? We hit something and it froze. Oh, interesting. And we can draw that crop to our guides. Make sure it's exactly where I want it. Bam, boom, done. That's pretty simple, right? And then we can, if I'm just dragging my menu over, we'll just see what I'm hitting here. We can change hit just our fill in here. Get some stuff filled in there. Doesn't really matter because this isn't going to show up in a particular way, but sure, why not? So there's our diffuse, right? And maybe we want to, I have an action set to just kind of sharpen this. Let's see if we can get it sharp. Look at that. I like it. Yeah, it's sharpened, and maybe we will do a little, well, let's just Control Shift Alt E makes a new stamp of that, and then maybe we want to filter despeckle a little bit. Maybe that cleans it up a little bit. That's fine. Maybe we'll just Shift hit that. Shift straight line hit that. Shift straight line hit this side. Oh, little mess up here. Oh, again. Let's get a little tighter. There we go. Bam. Yeah, like it. Looks good. Okay. All this other stuff can go. Bye-bye. This can go. Bye-bye. Control J, copy. So now I want to make a bump map. And the bump map, basically I want to make that this back section a little bit recessed. So what should we do here? We could just fill. Fill would be easy. I like Phil. Phil's a nice guy. What do we have? We want like a medium gray because the black is going to be fully recessed, right? So something like that. Boom, bump map, done. Great. Except for we don't really want these to be recessed that much. Maybe I'll fill this. Can we fill this? Yeah. Yeah, there. In fact, we like lost some of the black outline. So maybe, let's just make this a little bit more pronounced. We're gonna go to other, let's go minimum, and we're gonna get that preserve roundness, maybe 0.5, maybe 0.3, 0.2, there we go. And then we'll do a little Control M for curves bring that black into the very black, and we're just upping our contrast essentially here. Don't love it. Let's do a different method. Let's do image adjustment, replace color, and get all this gray crap into the black and localize it a little bit. A little bit better. And let's do an add color. Oh, too much. Subtract. There. Now we got some nice bold lines. We could actually go back to... I'm spending way too much time on this, huh? The hell? Maximum 0.1. No? Oh, won't let me. Okay. Fine. So fill. Let's fill. Fill doesn't work. Deselect. What's going on? Fill. Yo, Phil. What's up with it? Oh, X. Switch the color. There we go. Now we got it. Now we got it. Spending too much time on this. Okay, so scene controller, diffuse, and scene controller bump. Select both of these. Let's export it as JPEG and gotta kind of discover where I want to store it. Maybe it's in a components folder in my materials. Oh, decals components. It's not a decal. It's going to be not a logo. Special electrical symbols, maybe. Let's make an electrical. And this is scene controller. Keep organized, people. Organization, big, big plus. Okay, so now we're back in Chief. And we know if we view this camera and we do a material adjustment picker dealio, now we get to specify our scene controller. Tab, 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 browse, texture source. If we were smart when we had saved this, so like if I do that same export, maybe this is faster, who knows, I don't know. Yes, export, and it takes us to that same place. Copy this, cancel, cancel, and then Alt-Tab, back to Chief, place here, paste, easy to find. Okay, diffuse, bump map. Bumpity mappity, let's go. Chief, you gotta speed that portion up. I don't know why the load's so long, but here we go. Stretch to fit. Look at that, that looks pretty good actually. We could like pump this way up if we wanted to. Right? That looks pretty good. Why not? Okay, scene controller. Let's take a look at this thing. What does it look like now? Dude, that looks rad. We've got a little cleanup here. And that's fine. We can clean this up here, right? So we had some issues here. We didn't take enough time. There we go. That's all I needed to do. Clean this up. Clean all that up. That's a simple thing. And we probably could have cleaned this black section up a few times. Oops. Click it a couple times. Right? Could really clean this up. Blah, blah, blah. Export this again. Super simple to export this a ton of times if you want to. Let's go back to JPEG as default. You should remember that next time. There's our bump map. Replace it, yes. Alt-Tab, back to Chief, back to Material Picker. Easy to update this controller bump map. Go, ready to go. There we go, it's a little cleaner now. We can even pump it up a little bit more. Really get that stand off. Boom. Until it starts looking a little granulated. There. What's our roughness at? Roughness is, yeah, that's actually probably about right. Cool. So now that we have this symbol, Let's do a couple things with it. Open this guy up, and he's a switch, and he's wall mounted. Oh, we need to change the color here, right? We don't want to see that in vector. Sizing doesn't matter. And we're going to generate a new block. And then what else is nice? Guess what? Smoothing angle. Let's pump this up to like 80. And all of a sudden we get that kind of smooth look on this thing. Look at that sexy mama there. Right? So, a couple things we need to fix before we add this to the library. We want to change the pattern color. This is going to be white. Click on white. There you go. Scene controller, yeah. I'm going to put my name in there because I put my name on everything. It's good branding. Also, you just know where you got the best stuff from, right? Okay. And we need to modify this offset. Some reason we're getting this offset. I know exactly why. We don't need to spend any time communicating that to each other. Z-Wave controller, boom. Done. Done. Right? Not quite right. Let's do a couple things. Look how much work it goes into just creating a custom symbol. I mean, we're going to be done with this in 30 minutes, and I'm going to use this symbol 5 million times over. So there is that. But I'm going to fix a couple things here. So let's place a switch outside, and we're back to this, the conundrum. And I want to edit this. This is new in X13. We get to edit. We get this special CAD edit window. I'm going to grab all this. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to bring it back over to our Plan View tab. I'm going to select the symbol we just created. And I'm going to edit this CAD. So that's what it looks like. Let me see if we can, I feel like it's flipped. I feel like it's easier to edit out here so that we have the same orientation. Edit CAD block. Oh, it's the same. So I might be drawing this in backwards, but let's see, we'll see. No, that's kind of right. So here's what I want to do. I want to point this guy, the end of this switch symbol, to the back center of this. I want to select all this crap right here, delete, there, okay? I want to change this. This is going to be ZC, zone controller, okay? Now you look at where the bounding box of this particular CAD item is. And can we do anything about that? Right? In attributes, can we actually change the width of this so that the bounding box is different? Right? Can we change this to 0 and we'll change the bounding box? No, bounding box stays. Edit undo. So how else do you go about this? Well, kind of the simplest cheater way is we're going to draw a line here, and we'll draw another line here just for reference. And I'm going to duplicate this line and reflect it about the center. That means that our new CAD box for this item is going to be this wide. It's going to be this whole width here, which is kind of dumb, but it's kind of the method we have to implement. So this selected line, I'm going to change the overall length of it to a 30-second. Barely going to be able to see it. Looks like a dot. And shift. Contain select this. And I get to close this out. Control W. Save it. All instances done. And look at that ugliness. What happened? I forgot one very important thing. You forgot the CAD line that you put up here, you dummy. Oh, and it extended because we have auto connect, blah, blah, blah. I actually wouldn't mind this being so far off from the wall sometimes because it'd be nice to like pick it up off of the other switch symbols that I might have next to it In fact, I wouldn't even mind if this zone controller portion was like in the middle. Let's do that instead. I know this is kind of a standardized thing now, but these are always going to be in switch banks, so maybe it's easier to have it just dead center. And let's turn on auto width then. So then, there we go. Now we can truly center this up on the switch. And here's our new CAD, and it's going to be centered anyways. That's a lot easier. Why not? Okay, save. All instances. There we go. My shiny new zone controller switch is complete. It looks fantastic. Add it to the library. And then we're going to add some parameters like I always do. Do not show me this. Which is that we're going to add some search attributes. And I think that going forward, we're even going to add some macros into some of these symbols. So this is going to be RD switch, RD zone. And I always just add the actual name in there too, because sometimes these things get renamed and you never find them again. Rab. Those are very easy ways to find some stuff. RD electrical. Take the time to do this and you will thank me later when your library becomes just a wonderful, fantastic thing. So let's look at this thing. See what it ended up looking like. We've got one more thing to do, by the way. That's going to make this that much better. We'll turn off prescriptive crop mode. And where is our pretty little switch? Look, it's nowhere to be found. What the heck did I do? Probably need to designate its height off of floor. What happened to you? Or maybe we do need to change its offset. So let's see. In this guy right here, height to center, let's just call it 48 for now. Does that show up correctly? Where are you, Mr. Controller? There he is. He's pretty. I like him. What happens when we turn on? Yeah, it looks good. Why not? I can't see him at all, but stick a window next to him. Probably translates. Okay. Yeah, no, I like it. Done. Okay. Next thing, I want to create a custom symbol for up here. This guy up here. Look at this. And gosh, maybe we just steal from this right here. I'll show you how and where and why you might want to steal that. So I'll show you what I mean in just a second here. Let's see. I think we're in Program Files, Chief Architect, and I think we're probably in Resources, unless we've got button. There we go. Buttons. Here's where it gets complicated. Chief, your naming conventions are crazy. You guys name things, different things all the time. It's so weird. Why? I don't know. I don't know. Man, I'm dropping such cool info here. I hope people get to watch this. So, let's see here. Switch search. Why is this window so small? Someone tell me that. That's changed. Is there a slider here? There's no slider here. Oh, there it is. Weird. There we go. Here we go. Switch consumer. What am I going to do with this? Right click, open with, you guessed it, the Photoshop. The Photoshop. And then Control All. And maybe we'll just shrink this guy down a little bit. Yeah, why not? And then let's use the text tool and put in here, you guessed it, BC. Ooh, wrong color though, right? Should have been black. BC, there. And move this to there, and maybe we want this like a 50 point. Does that help? Move this to there. Yeah, sure. Let's get back to this one. Move him over a little bit. Hopefully we can see this. This is going to become an icon now. So export. Oh, yes. Export. Export as PNG, very important. And then this is already going to take me back to where I just was, but in fact, I do want to go to my Chief Architect data folder in Toolbars and drop this into custom and name it appropriately. In which case, it's going to be switch for. It's nice to have a classification first so it's easy to find. You see how I have cabs, cabs, cabs? Yeah. So switch and then scene controller. Why do we call it VC? That was dumb. What the hell is that? Did we call it VC in here too? Was I being dumb? SC. ZC. Oh, zone controller. What the hell is a VC? Okay. That helps. It's better. Let's try that again. Export as PNG. Yes. Oh, and we got to go back to our custom switch. Switch. If we start typing there. Yes, replace. And now, full circle here. Let's edit our toolbars. Let's maximize this first. Edit toolbars. Place library object. Place library object. Library object. Let's switch this to a plan view type. That way we can drop it right in here next to this other little switchy right there. Boom. And in fact, I'm going to do a couple other of these smart switches. So I might as well just drop in a couple more of these guys right here because we're going to do a USB as well, and USB-C and USB-A bank, all of that stuff. And you see how long it took me to make this. And sometimes I give this stuff away. Man, just throw me a shout out on these feeds. I kind of want more exposure. So if you're watching this, you're learning from this, throw me a little shout. I'd be super positive about it. Zone controller. Bam! Guess what we're going to do next? Look, it actually already kind of auto-produced an icon that looks pretty good. But I want to keep it in line with what I have already, which means that we've got kind of a standardized look for everything. So we're going to keep with the chief standards, which is going to be this switch scene controller. Bam. And look at that. It's in my toolbar. It looks beautiful. I place it. It looks beautiful. It looks beautiful in 3D. It looks exactly like it should be. The only other thing I might do is go in here and actually plug in information from the manufacturer. Let's do that, and then it's done. And you know what I'm going to do? In case you're watching this feed and you're in the Rabbit Design feed, we're going to give this away. This one. So, but I'll finish a couple of the other controllers too. We'll give it away as a package, just for people that are in this feed. Okay, so let's see. What do we want? We want object information, or we want components. So in their components, we can edit a few things. Electrical supplier, manufacturer is going to be Zeus. And what's a component code? Let's get back to this, and let's see if there's actually, and it's a ZW35. ZW35. And let's see, let's expand this little window here. Oh, and let's change this to standard view because it's pretty. Look at that, it's so pretty. Okay, price, we could set price. I don't know that it matters. $37.95, why not? We can do a couple things here. Our markup is going to be 20%. Guys, come on, let's make some money on this thing. And yeah, I think that's great right there. Subcategory, we're going to call this Z-Wave. Okay, boom. I'm going to end the feed. I'm going to do some more. Actually, maybe I won't. Let's just keep it rolling. If you guys show up, you show up. Great. I'm going to keep working on this. So I want a I'm going to modify an existing symbol. That should be really easy. And this is just going to be another zone controller because Zeus makes a dimmer, a dimming module that is just as cheap as your typical Leviathan dimming modules. And here's another one we're going to make, kind of in line with that last one. And in fact, we can even use the same symbol and just change the material. That'll be really easy. So this one is a perfect example of where you might use a garbage disposal lower versus, see if we can get a better image here. Image is bad. Garbage disposal lower. Well, here, let's look at the diagram. See, we've got a relay, and the relay can be the garbage disposal. Kind of clever. I'm going to wire one of these things up pretty soon here. Yeah. So you could do scene controller, you can do a fan, you can do dry contact on a fireplace, right? Gas fireplace insert. It actually looks like it does have a rocker switch, but I don't know that I'm worried about that. We could put a gradient in the map and make it look like that. It won't wire as a three-way. It's important to note. But these can be controlled from our scene controller that we just created. And you can see I purchased this, so but it's a Christmas present from Mama. Okay, so here's a good image, and we're just going to clean up those green lines to fix this. So, same process. Boom. Copy. And what do we get? We get this right here. And let's just do a new one. It's fine. Create new, paste. Let's draw our guides. I'm going to do this a little bit more efficiently than the last time, hopefully. Hit control to override so it doesn't snap to the very edge because I got a little closer. And bam. Bam, bam, bam. I am broadcasting to another. I'm using my iPad as a second screen, but it's dying on me. That's no